Hello and welcome, I'm Kira Scribner, and today, at 3 in the morning, I'm going to react to the Women's Prize for Fiction. I think this was a really strong list. I have read 10 of them in completion, and I have started another 2. We are currently 5 minutes out from the prize being announced, or at least the announcement to start. So I'm going to go very quickly over my top 6 books, and then my shortlisted predictions. So, my shortlist includes In Defense of the Act, Night Bloom, Ordinary Human Failings, River East, River West, Enter Ghost, or Brotherless Night. I liked both of these for very different reasons, and yeah, it's interesting to see the ways that my thoughts have continued to solidify a little bit after. My predictions also included Ordinary Human Failings, In Defense of the Act, Brotherless Night, Enter Ghost, and then I also had Hangman, which I have read the first chapter. Thank you, Charlie Brooks, for giving me a wonderful recommendation of just talking about it in her predictions video, and I went, maybe I will try it, and I read the first 10 pages or so, and I am actually really intrigued. I like esoteric crap that nobody likes. I was looking at some of the books that I love the most, and they are so badly rated. So maybe I shouldn't listen to reviewers as much as I do. And then the other book that I had listed is The Wren, and I might be backing away from this because The Wren I thought was really popular because I heard some early reviews that were really great. But even those people that reviewed it really well have kind of talked about how it's forgettable, and I'm like, yeah, it's forgettable. I had a lot of thoughts about this book when I first read it, and a lot of those thoughts were negative. I did not like many of the ways in which I just thought that it was trying to say something, but it wasn't doing it as effective. It kind of got lost in the writing, and I love beautiful prose. I just felt like I wasn't fully there, you know? I was like, she's a heavy hitter. She's been listed so many times. But when I looked into it, I think she's been listed 5 times, but she's only been shortlisted twice, including the last book that she had was not even shortlisted. So to believe that just because she's an established author that she's going to get there, it might be a false conclusion. I think that sometimes we're like, oh, we recognize that book, of course it's going to be recognized. So I might be backing away from that a little bit, which gives me a full shot of Soldier Sailor, because I was in between whether putting Soldier Sailor or Ordinary Human Failings because they're both Irish and they both deal with motherhood. But The Wren also deals with motherhood. Many of these books look at motherhood in some kind of fashion, which, as we have a lot of female protagonists, it makes sense to see that. So, last minute change up in the thing. We have 2 minutes to the prize. So I'm going to look it up and I'm going to wait. I'm really excited to see this. It's always a surprise. I could literally get none of these right. I have seen this happen so many times. Night Bloom is another book that I kind of discarded its chances even though I really love it. So who knows? Who knows? I'm so afraid in these times that I will be spoiled. I should have already been on the thing. Okay. This is a minute of me just pure panicking. Okay, Women's Prize. I need to go back to the beginning. Okay, The Wren made it. I lied. Okay, I've seen it. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. 10 seconds. Are we ready? Look at this dramaticness. It's very intense music.
I'm Monica Ali, and I'm
She's
very
back.
excited, and here they are.
The Wren. Okay, so I just saw the first book. Okay, I made that whole thing for no reason.
The Wren by Anne Enright is a beautiful, powerful meditation on generational trauma and love.
I would agree.
Anne's writing is utterly unparalleled, and I am so jealous that I did not write this incredible book.
Enter Ghost. Okay. I'm 2 for 2 on my initial predictions.
Enter Ghost by Isabella Hammad is the story of Sonia.
Are they doing it alphabetically and I've missed it now? I feel like I missed Black, eh? Brotherless Night! We go, we go! Okay, yeah, they're doing alphabetical. In Defense of the Act did not make it.
Is a powerful book that has the intimacy of memoir, the range and ambition
Yes,
of
it does.
and tells.
One of the things that I keep on forgetting to say in all of my conversations about this book is the fact that one of the things she repeats throughout is you have to remember that we were speaking in Tamil. I'm not talking in Tamil, but we were speaking in Tamil, and this is how it sounds. And I love that so much because it's talking about it and how much of a memoir it's talking about. I am so excited to review this book now that it's on the short list. I've been waiting and I was caught up in the midst, but okay. So 3 for 3 and 3 that I guessed. I'm feeling pretty good.
A truly unforgettable story about the Sri Lankan civil war.
Restless Dolly Monitor. I cannot say that name, which is probably part of the issue. I have heard some positive reviews. Shout out to Ben. And yeah, maybe this book, we just kind of overlooked it sometimes. And sometimes we are a little pretentious, and I agree with that. So yeah, okay. I have heard good things, and I'm not afraid of reading this book. So here we go. The book that everyone thought was a no-hitter is a book that is. River East, River West. I'm doing good, okay? I know I'm getting cocky. I'm sorry.
River West by Aubrey Lescure is set in Shanghai in the mid-2000s. It's a very funny book. It's often heartbreaking.
We could still get
but
Nolan
riveting.
or Kilroy. Soldier Sailor. Okay. I started the book and I'm really enjoying it.
Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy is a full-bodied, remorseless,
The two Irish that we
visceral
guessed.
deep dive into the maternal mind. It is ultimately a love story between Soldier.
I find like I'm just at the beginning, but she's talking about like all of these thoughts, which I just thought like everything. It just feels like I'm not a mother, but I know mothers and I love children, so I can understand some of that. And there's this scene in which she's talking about Easter and how she's excited for Easter because she's going to get a break, and just how much like she's just losing her mind and talking about how like her husband, you know, she used to find that his snores were cute, and now she's listening to him like, you know, sleep every night and her not, and like she's just like, I can't sleep because like how can you not feel the panic that is in me, and like just the overwhelming there. And I'm like, oh, it's so brilliantly written.
Sailor, the sun.
Oh, that's the whole list. Okay. I am really sad to see Ordinary Human Failings gone. I'm really sad to see In the Sense of the Act gone, but I think that this is a really solid list. So yeah, we had two books that I had not read, one that I did not expect on this list, but we had Soldier Sailor, which everyone expected, and I kind of guessed, and I was like, you know, I don't want to put it on my list because I think that it might outbeat Ordinary Human Failings. I love Ordinary Human Failings. I have the review. It was supposed to go up yesterday, but I didn't edit it. But it will still go out post this video, and hopefully people will enjoy it and, you know, have joy from it. And I think that it is a book that is short and is very important. I think a lot of people were down on Restless, but I think that, you know, I love seeing Australian fiction represented, and it is on her grandmother as well. So I think that, you know, I still have 2 books to read on the shortlist, and they're 2 books that I have access to. This is the first year since I've started following the Booker or the Women's Prize where I've been able to access every book. This is the real win of this prize, is that I can comment on all of them because I can read all of them. And yeah, River East, River West, I love. I think that has some weak points in Lu Fang's story, but I have an entire review where I talk at length about many of the areas in which I think it really exceeds. So yeah, if you care about that, I would recommend. I will link it below. So yeah, I think that this is really good. Enter Ghost has fallen a little bit in my estimation as months has gone on because I've forgotten a lot of it, but I just remember how much spark of inspiration I felt, like watching the ways that it played with Hamlet. And I know people who don't know Shakespeare, it's not as meaningful, but for me, it just felt like so beautiful. And the way that I talked about surveillance in Israel and just the pressure and the way that they would embody characters through that rage and through that experience, and the way that police would come to their performances in control, and also the fact that it wasn't just straight lines. They were speaking in Arabic and they were also adapting and playing it, and each night was different. And I just think that that's so cool. Like it made me dream of being in that world and that place. It also deals with motherhood, or the lack of motherhood, in a really interesting way. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that aspect because it comes into the story a little bit later on. But I think all of these books actually deal with motherhood in some way, which I love. You know, it's a prize representing women. And though not every woman is a mother, or motherhood is not important to every mother, it does really interact with our lives, whether we are daughters, whether we are mothers, whether the pressure of that. Like I believe that Restless Dolly Monitor, that's a big part. I wish I could say her name. I don't know why it turns into Monitor every time. I am dyslexic and this is going to be hard. She's the first one of her sisters to have school mandated, so she actually gets an upper education. And she has these dreams and wants to be a businesswoman and to travel and have all of these thoughts. And she marries a man who she thinks will allow that, because so many of the people want her to hit into this stereotype. And we also have that in River East, River West. And we have the different ways in which the mother and daughter do not sit into traditional roles. And I think that many of these books, like, you know, The Wren and River East, River West, both look at single mothers and those experiences. I guess Brotherless Night does not look at motherhood in direct way, like the mother is a character and you do have a relationship, but it's not quite as central. But that one is about family, and I think the creative way that it tells the story, and I do want to kind of reread it. I feel like the holds will be crazy now, but I recommended it to people. And it's a book that I did struggle to get into, but I wonder if I understood the story, if I would struggle so much, because I just didn't understand the world that I was in. So yeah, I'm really excited for this shortlist. Should I make a prediction for who is going to win? I feel like it could be Brotherless Night or Enter Ghost. I feel like those are probably the heavy hitters. Soldier Sailor could also. Kate Granville has been listed before, but she has not won, I believe. Or has she won? maybe she has one. But I doubt that you would have, you know, 2 white authors returning for a win for the second time 2 years in a row. And I think it's been a while. This is reminding me of last year where I got in people's case about the fact that I don't love when we see repeat authors over and over again. I love a debut author. I love representing new talent and ushering that. And I think that part of imagining and building this future of women's fiction is not only in celebrating people who have labored long, which is a prize, and maybe we do look at youth and, you know, glamorize it. But I feel like having the chance and saying that you can be young and you can be a new writer, even someone like Louise Kennedy, who wrote her first book in her 60s from last year's list, like, you know, being able to say that there's a future in this and that you can start and not an established author, I think is part of the prize. Like, the mandate was created out of the lack of female voices and representation. So I don't know, but the top 3 here, I think it's just because alphabetical, but they are all previously long-listed books. I do need to learn how to pronounce Brotherless Knight's author's name as well, but she was listed way back in 2009, which is her only novel. So she is an established author, but it's been a very long time since she's had a book. My bet would be between Brotherless Knight, Enter Ghost, and Claire Kilroy. I haven't read Soldier Sailor yet, but I can tell you that I would say that Brotherless Knight is a stronger novel than Enter Ghost. Although Enter Ghost plays with so many different kinds of form and like the ways in which we interpret and like creativity, as I talked about. So that is a really cool aspect that, you know, something like the Book of Form of Emptiness or Hamnet both kind of played with in some ways. So, you know, we can't have that. But then, yeah, there's so many poetic things in Brotherless Knight. And then Soldier Sailor seems like a knockout when I've started it. So yeah, maybe I'm going to be totally wrong, but those are my predictions. We'll talk in June. We'll talk before that too. I will list some of the reviews that I've done before and other thoughts. I also reacted to the nonfiction list when it came out, and I was kind of bitter about that one. I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you upset? Are you sad? Are you disappointed? Are you elated? What book are you devastated is not going to continue on? What book are you really happy that got through? And I'll talk to you next time.